Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 49ers Monday night pregame show. It's Monday morning, but it's still pregame, so we're calling it that. Grant Cohn, Coach Noah Johnston. How you doing, Coach? Pleasure to see you.
Doing great. It's getting cold out here on East Coast. Northern East Coast, not like Jesse down there in Florida with his
Tampa. That's Tampa East Coast. Yeah, it doesn't really count. Okay, so look, here we're going to preview this game, and we're going to lay out the different scenarios, like why the Niners lose, why the Niners win, and then we're going to say what each outcome would mean, and then we're going to pick a winner. But first, we're going to talk about the news because there's some juicy stuff. Let's start with talking about Mac Jones, because he just had a phenomenal game yesterday against the Browns. Patriots eviscerated Cleveland. Mac Jones was extremely efficient, and he's won 4 games in a row. He's clearly the best rookie quarterback right now. And I think Niner fans are starting to be like, damn, should we have taken Mac Jones? Do you think the 49ers messed up and should have taken Mac Jones?
I don't think so. I mean, I was thinking about this. It's kind of crazy how the quarterbacks that got drafted on better teams look the best right now. Who look the best?
Yeah.
Mac Jones and Justin Fields, right?
Yeah.
No, we're not saying now the Bears aren't the greatest team, right? But the Bears are better
than Jacksonville.
They're better than Jacksonville.
And Trevor Lawrence looks bad right now.
And they're better than the Jets, right?
Yeah.
The Bears are better than the Jets.
True.
So if you had to rank the teams right now of those, you'd have New England, you'd have Chicago, and then you'd have probably the Jets and then Jacksonville. And we've only seen Trey for one game, so you can't compare Trey for one game versus an entire season of Mac Jones and pretty much entire season of Justin Fields. In my opinion, from what I've seen, I think Justin Fields looks better because he's doing more with less, and he's getting progressively better every week. And when you watch it, you're like, oh, that's the best player.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen Justin Fields in person, and that to me is the best. Well, he's not the best rookie quarterback right now, but he's the one I'm most intrigued with. He's the one who has the brightest future right now. We haven't seen Trey Lance. He's like an incomplete. But right now, Justin Fields looks really intriguing. And what I see from Mac Jones is a guy who looks average. And it's impressive that a rookie quarterback can be an average NFL quarterback. No question. That is an accomplishment. And like Trevor Lawrence can't pull that off right now, even though he's on a much worse team, and maybe he would look average, probably would look average on the Patriots. But still, Mac gets credit for that. I just don't see where does he improve? I feel like he's maximized his skill set, and that's a testament to him. That's great. But he's a lot like Jimmy Garoppolo to me. Jimmy started his career 16-2, and people are thinking, man, he's only going to get better. How? Based on what? He has a limited skill set. Teams will catch up.
But I do think the thing that's nice about Mac Jones, right? And we've talked about it on the show before, is you're not paying him $28 million. Right. So if the 49ers had Jimmy Garoppolo,
23
was for
cheap, healthy,
$4 million.
Yep. No, you're right. No. And so he's a good quarterback for them. And I think the Patriots clearly can contend with them for the next 4 years. But I still think to win a Super Bowl, you need a top 10 quarterback one way or another. And I don't think he's going to be that. I don't think he is that. I think he's like right around 16, 17, right in the middle. Great. That's great. Hard to get that. A lot of teams would like that. But even if he's cheap, man, a lot of things got to break your way to win with that.
But
a lot of things.
Right. I agree with that. And I think, if you look
there's always going to be some team with a quarterback on a comparable pay scale who's way better, like Arizona. Yeah.
I mean, listen, the Patriots didn't have to make any draft moves to go get him. Like, didn't have extra to get him.
That was smart.
If Belichick is smart and this guy is Jimmy Garoppolo, quote unquote Jimmy Garoppolo, trade him in a couple years and then try to find your top 10 quarterback.
We're thinking on the same line. Like, I'm curious to see. He looks like he definitely could be the Patriots quarterback for the next 4 years, which is great. But he would need to actually do a lot more to warrant the paydays that franchise quarterbacks are getting. I mean, if Kirk Cousins can get 30-something million a year, so can Mac Jones theoretically if he stays at this pace, because he gets a lot. So anyway, curious to see what the Patriots ultimately offer him down the line, but that's 5 years from now. Anyway, we should get back to the 49ers.
Right, but on that topic, though, what's going to be interesting this offseason is what the Browns do with Baker Mayfield, because he's hanging out in that area where
They can't. If they re-sign him, they're done. It's over.
Yeah.
The dream is over. All right. This is interesting. An alternate theory has been floating around the internet the last few days. And I think it's worth at least talking about. And this is about how the Niners got Trey Lance. Now, the prevailing theory is that Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones and was overruled at the end by everyone in the organization, and that's why they took Trey Lance. This theory, which has been floating around there and in the interwebs, is that it was the opposite. That the organization, in particular, the general manager, John Lynch, wanted Mac Jones, and that Kyle wanted Trey Lance. Look, I don't know if it's true. We don't know anything. We don't know what happened. But it's interesting that someone brought this up. And if you like, it kind of makes you retrace the entire offseason, like at the end of Usual Suspects, where he drops the mug and he's like, oh my God, the guy. Anyway, do you think this is possible? Because the other theory, the theory that Kyle wanted Mac Jones and got overruled, only works if you think there's a reality where Kyle Shanahan gets overruled in his own organization, which is a stretch. So this is plausible because it puts Kyle back in the position of power. Go ahead. What do you think?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, anything looks like
anything's possible, right? Yeah.
I think if that's the case, it would give me more hope because I believe your coach has to believe in you.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
And for me, it would be more important that Kyle is all in on Trey Lance than if John Lynch was all in Trey Lance. So I think if that's true, then it gives them some hope. And if I were the Yorks, I would lean more toward keeping Kyle if that was the case. Because one of the biggest things is if he really does want Mac, I can't have you here because you got to believe.
I need someone who wants Trey. Someone who wants Trey. So whoever.
Now, okay. Is it Kyle's camp doing damage control and
possible? Let me go through let's go through the year and see if we can find some evidence to support this theory. Let's see if there's any evidence to support this theory. All right. So when they had the pre-draft press conference right after taking Trey Lance, and if you go back and watch it, Kyle Shanahan gets to say what they liked about him. And John Lynch he says, when I evaluate quarterbacks, I like to really look at the plays they're running and figure out where the ball's supposed to go and figure out if he's going there more often than not. And with Trey Lance, what really stuck out was his skill set. Really big, really strong, really fast, and his personality. He's got a CEO type personality that was just so impressive. So it's an interesting answer. It's like, this is what I look for. This is what Trey has, kind of a non sequitur. And this is what I like about him, his skill set and his personality. Kyle at the same press conference said, I evaluate all these guys the same. And I know there's not a lot of film on Trey, but there's not a lot of film on Mac Jones and Justin Fields either. And I just give, pluses and minuses. And there were a lot more pluses and minuses with Trey. It just seemed like kind of a genuine answer. That's one thing.
And Kyle he is pretty genuine. I mean,
he's not good at lying.
No, to a fault.
Yeah.
And I think
I got more. John said Kyle wanted Trey Lance since January, right? It's been his guy since January. When we went to see Justin Fields, Kyle was drawing plays up for Trey Lance after. This is what John said. He volunteered this information. It's not like I love Trey Lance. Kyle loves him. That's been his drum that he's been beating all offseason. Kyle freaking loves Trey Lance. And we're thinking, oh, he's lying for Kyle. That's such a good. What if he's telling the truth?
Yeah, and I think there's also they specifically talked about them not
talking to Mac,
right?
Sorry. And they went to the Alabama's pro day and didn't say a word to Nick Saban. Didn't say a word to him. Yeah. Right? Kyle went there, didn't talk to Nick Saban. Kyle went to Fields and was thinking about Trey Lance, apparently, according to the
legend. Drawing plays on the plane. And they talked about him not telling his coaches who he wanted as well.
Right.
So there's that, and then there's just the fact that they actually drafted Trey Lance.
Right? But there's more. There's more. To me, and the Shanahans will never admit it, but when they scout quarterbacks, they look for something very specific. can you line up under center, and can you do the play action stuff where you turn your back, and are you comfortable throwing, rolling left and rolling right? They don't talk about it. But if you don't show these things on tape in college, they're like, I don't know if I can't coach that. You either can do that or you can't. And that's what Skidder Becker could do. That's what CJ could do. If you watched the highlights at Iowa, it's the first 45 seconds, play action roll left, play action roll right. It's okay. And then with Lance, that's what he did in college. It's not what Mac Jones did in college. Mac Jones was in the gun. He was in the pistol. He didn't roll out. I'm just saying, when I finally started watching Trey Lance, I tweeted it. Kyle's going to love this guy. The Shanahans are going to love this guy because they see right away, oh, he can turn his back to the defense. Mm-hmm. And it's not a good way, honestly, to evaluate quarterbacks, but I'm fairly confident that that's a very important thing that they look for.
And he runs a lot. They ran a lot of their same concepts, and then which they don't use when they do play him. Kyle does the Kyle thing.
Okay.
He's like, no, we're not going to do that.
So ultimately, this theory doesn't matter. How the Niners got Trey Lance doesn't really matter. The issue is, why aren't they playing him? Like, what happened to someone in the organization who really liked him to, we're not even going to let him compete? To me, my best guess is that the locker room just vetoed this. It could have been Mac Jones. It could have been Justin Fields. From the locker room's perspective, we should have won that Super Bowl. Last year was an aberration. Give us one more chance to prove ourselves, and bringing in a new quarterback doesn't let us do that. In fact, it's a condemnation of us from our own organization.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think it's that, or Kyle is so protective of Lance, and he just does. But I think it's probably more so your theory is that it's so locker room is so pro Jimmy, or just the fact that you would. I think just the fact that you would trot out a rookie quarterback, even no matter who it was, even if it was Mac Jones, like just the fact that you would trot out a rookie quarterback. The Patriots aren't where the Niners thought that.
Cam Newton had no equity built up in that organization. I mean, he'd been there for
It's not even that, but they were talking about a Super Bowl roster in New England. They weren't talking about a Super Bowl roster, right?
No,
talking about a Super Bowl roster here in San Francisco. In New England, they weren't. So there was just a different mindset to that team and different mindset to this team where you could insert a rookie quarterback. And I don't know that Shanahan has built up enough equity to just switch it up like that.
Yeah. Well, look, we're going to move on, but we don't want to talk about tinfoil hat theories too much. But if this is true, I think it's encouraging for 49er fans because that does mean that the coach is all in with the quarterback. If the coach is being subversive to the quarterback like Kyle's been in the past, then he's got to go. He's got to go now. I wouldn't want him coaching any Trey Lance games this season. But if that's not the case, if he actually does want Trey Lance and we just didn't get it, okay, man. All right, Kyle, I get it. Fine. But we're never going to know for sure. So kind of show us at some point with how you coach him. Show us. How about that? All right, let's move on. We're going to get some questions in a minute, but we got more to talk about. Jay Gruden went on a podcast recently and said something really interesting. He said in 2017, when he was still coaching Washington, there's no doubt in his mind that he could have got 2 firsts and 2 seconds from Kyle Shanahan for Kirk Cousins. This was a year before Kirk Cousins was a free agent. And the guy was like, well, why didn't you do it then? And he was like, well, because Dan Snyder just couldn't bear the idea of Kyle succeeding with Kirk Cousins and wouldn't let it happen. That doesn't mean that the Niners made an offer. Doesn't mean it got that. This is basically Jay Gruden saying, I know we could have probably should have done it. So take it with a grain of salt. But 2 firsts and 2 seconds for Kirk Cousins. What do you think? 2017.
I mean, I believe Kyle would have done it.
Me too.
I do that. I mean, that's his crush, man. I mean, I DM you about this, right? I think my theory on this is that if you've read anything about Kyle and Kirk Cousins, like that's the guy that he picked out, he scouted in the draft, and even
it's his biggest hit. It's his biggest hit. Yeah.
Even though they were all in an RG3 that year, he was so excited when his dad said, "Hey, we're going to draft Kirk Cousins," and he was like, "What? We already have a quarterback," and he was so excited that his dad going to let him get that guy, and he hit that. So
he's right.
There's an attachment there to him. Yeah. It's like when if you've even as someone doing Niners talk, if you scouted a guy and you touted him, like I know Aponte loves talking about Terry McLaurin, like all the time.
Also, it's like he still feels that Washington team was unfairly taken away from him and his dad, that they were scapegoated for things that were out of their control.
Yeah.
And essentially, like, he should have been coaching Kirk Cousins. It's like if Bill Walsh had been fired after 1982 or something, and someone else coached Joe Montana the rest of the way. He was like he wanted to right that wrong.
Yeah, I think it's more about. I think it's a Kyle thing. It's like that's the guy, because if I get him, that's my guy, right? I did that. I
Right.
him, right?
Right.
Do I think that? I mean, if you look at the draft picks, if you look at the draft picks they've given up, like it was Solomon Thomas.
That's what I have them written down real quick. So, like, obviously, it sounds awful trading all those picks because you could have had Patrick Mahomes, you could have had Deshaun Watson. You didn't need to do that, but they made it worse. This was way better than what they ended up doing, because with those picks, the Niners took Solomon Thomas. You do it, Solomon Thomas,
McGlinchey, Dante Pettis,
and Reuben Foster. I mean, that's what they got. So yeah, I mean, trading. This is why the Rams do what they do. Trade for proven guy, because you can always end up with Solomon Thomas, Reuben Foster, Mike McGlinchey, Dante Pettis. It really happens. That being said, if you were a better organization, you just would have taken Patrick Mahomes and been the Chiefs, but you're not. So it got way worse.
The only thing is, listen, Cousins is better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, let's get off the table right now. Like, he's better. So it would have been an upgrade. Is he?
Although, is he materially better? Like, does it matter? Is he the one a top 10 quarterback?
No.
So
he's better. He is better.
Yeah. Okay. And, so Kirk Cousins is like the 12th best quarterback in the league, and Garoppolo's like the 20th. I agree.
Now the downside would be if they gave him the same contract that they give Minnesota gave him all guaranteed money, so they can't get out of that.
Terrible.
What
do they get out of that?
Garoppolo.
500 football. Yeah. Every year. How is he 500 every year, Kirk Cousins? How's he do that? Every year. It's amazing. It's something else. But really, the Niners could benefit from that kind of consistency at this point.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So 2 first, 2 second. Would have been interesting. An alternate reality where Kirk Cousins and Kyle Shanahan got to maybe one day. Marcus says, Grant, did you know Rudolph on Steelers gets first team reps every Wednesday, no matter what, if he is starting or not? Why can't Trey get? I did not know that. Seems smart though.
I thought it was a Christmas comment.
Rudolph. It makes sense though. I mean, if you have a brittle quarterback, why not get the replacement ready? I mean, the Niners. I don't know. This theory makes sense because Shanahan has time on his contract. Lynch needs to win this here, a la Mac Jones. See, that makes sense too. That makes sense too. Lynch is under the gun. I mean, you would think, right? More than Kyle. Kyle has longer on his contract. Kyle has more power than Lynch. Lynch needs to win. Like, if they don't make the playoffs this year, I think most fans think Lynch is out, not Kyle, right? So their timeline.
And they keep failing on draft picks. So people point, even though Kyle has the power, everyone points to Lynch.
Right. This theory makes sense. Yeah. It's very interesting. Someone told it to me. I'm like, nah. And then I just had that Chaz Palminteri moment at the end of Usual Suspects. I'm like, oh my God, it makes sense. I've been way too hard on, but ultimately, Kyle, if that's who you wanted and you couldn't even have a quarterback competition, dude, come on, man.
I mean, you could also think to the quarterback that Lynch won the Super Bowl, Brad Johnson. So maybe. True.
When has Lynch ever worked with a quarterback like Lance? Kyle has. Although he acts completely to the contrary, Kyle Shanahan cares way too much what people think of him. It holds him back from thinking clearly. See, maybe that here's another theory, and this is just something I've thought about. But maybe they actually, as an organization, wanted Mac, and the person who wavered over the last month, the person who buckled under the public pressure was Kyle. Right? I don't know. That's just something I was thinking about. Because when they first traded up, the information from all the reputable sources was it's lock and a key. It's Mac. What if someone changed their mind in the organization and it was Kyle? I don't know. That's something I thought about. It's possible Kyle wanted to trade the whole time, though. It's possible Kyle wanted to trade.
I think it's possible that Kyle could have wanted Mac. I don't think it would have been public perception that would have changed his mind. It would have been the prevailing, either the
people were starting to call Kyle racist. It was getting that explosive. Like, oh, he needs a quarterback that looks like Kirk Cousins. Like, no, Not necessarily. I mean, I could see him being a little upset by that.
I don't think it was ever about Reese. I don't know Kyle personally, but I don't.
You remember that kind of rhetoric was ratcheting up.
Yeah,
I was kind of throwing some lighter fluid on that too. I'm sorry.
A little bit.
Sorry. Chewy says Kirk is better than the players they drafted. Exactly.
Yeah.
Better than all of them combined. It's hilarious. And that's why the Rams do what they do. Does the red carpet player walk to the stadium bother anyone else? Yeah, that is weird. Why are we rolling out a literal red carpet for this shut show? How out of touch. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like, what? Do the Patriots do that? What? Yeah. It's a
Right. Rolling out to the red carpet to the stadium that you can't even get a win in.
What if you wait till you win 2 games in a row? Not just 1, 2. That's a good point, Mo Dollars. Like the red carpet, it's as a writer, that's great symbolism of the 49ers. That encapsulates the microcosm of them, of the whole thing.
Right.
That's what they think there. It's like, again, what have you guys accomplished? Who are you guys? You guys are a team that had 1 good year. You know what other team was like that? Jacksonville. Jacksonville had 1 good year, right?
Yeah.
Right? Who's the coach of that team? I don't even remember.
Duval.
I don't even remember who was the coach of that team in 2017 when they had a good year. Who was it? It was Doug Marrone.
Yeah,
he was a genius that year. Remember that? He was a genius that year. They almost beat the Patriots. This close.
Aren't the Niners about to like break a record for losing in your own or home?
Oh, yeah, they're about to have the worst. Levi's is 2 more losses. If they lose the next 2 home games, they will have Levi's will have the lowest winning percentage of any NFL stadium ever. So that's something to look forward to.
So then, like, let's roll out the red carpet.
Yeah, let's roll the red carpet.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny. I think sitting Trey is the plan. Once he plays, Kyle's at risk if the development doesn't go as planned. He's the security blanket. That's usually the way it is, right? That's like your that's a head coach's job security card. Like, hey, don't fire me yet. I still got this guy. I'm developing him.
Right. But the thing about it, if you look at it, we talked about it when we were talking about Mac Jones. The quarterbacks on the like decent rosters are faring pretty well. Like Justin Fields. I mean, the Bears aren't Jacksonville. Like Justin Fields is getting better every week. Mac Jones looks good. He's efficient.
And what they're telling us is that Lance is awful in practice. I mean, is that not what they're telling us? That he's awful.
They were in a game. They almost beat Arizona when he played.
But like, look, I just don't think the Niners ever gave Lance a chance to prove himself. No. Like he never had real first team. When he took first team reps in camp, it was to run the ball. He played with the backups, and I mean now he's running the scout team. How is he getting an evaluation? He was never evaluated on the same playing field as Jimmy, who threw 11 picks in 12 days at camp. Like, how is Jimmy so good? Well, he smiled after throwing the pick, so his confidence didn't waver. It matters what your face looks like after you throw the pick in Santa Clara. Oh, Jimmy's so confident. Look at it. He's so confident, though. Look at that confidence. The way he throws interceptions is much preferable to the way that Trey throws interceptions, even though Trey threw 1/3 of them. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Football can be kind of strange to me. I'm from baseball where everything's quantified and just the best player with the best numbers always plays, and it's very cut and dry. Football is just, there's a lot of I don't know, anecdotal evidence that goes into it, I guess. All right, let's talk about this game. Let's lay out both scenarios, and then we'll pick who's going to win. Start with the losing scenario. Tell me why the 49ers will lose this game.
Rams are better. I mean,
place to start.
They have a better, I'm not as high on Matt Stafford as some other people, but he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
The Rams defense is not as good as last year, but it's better than the 49ers defense playing. They just added Von Miller. They believe this will be his first game he'll be playing. And obviously, we know the other guys that they have. They brought in Odell Beckham. I know they lost Robert Woods, but Odell Beckham he's still a good receiver. So I think the Niners are reeling. Like,
right.
They're not good at home. It's like,
I mean, honestly, I don't think you need to go much further than that. Like, to me, why the Niners lose this game is they look like a team that's packed it in already. They lost to Colt McCoy last week. You saw what Colt McCoy did this week against the Panthers. He looked exactly like Colt McCoy always looks. Coming into that game against the Niners, he was 8-22 as a starter in the league. Like he is not he's not the kind of guy who wins games. I don't know how he sticks around, but I guess he's good in practice and good against the Niners every once in a while. So he did that, and basically it showed that the Niners didn't show up. They did not show up to a Week 9 game when they were 3-4. They didn't show up. How? So now, they might not show up to any game the rest of the season. They could lose the rest of their games. Who's to say that they'll have more urgency today? I don't know. So that would be why the Niners lose, because they've already packed it in. That would be why they would lose this game.
Right. You're like, you guys are packing it in, but you want to play Jimmy Garoppolo, and
right.
You don't.
Right. I mean, like, for example, not just the Cardinals game, but the last coming off a bye week. What was their record when they faced coming off a bye week that they faced the Colts? It wasn't a must-win game yet, but pretty big game. Sunday Night Football, national television. They didn't show up to that game. They got beaten by almost 2 touchdowns by the Colts. I'm sorry. I mean, the Colts aren't bad, but I just don't see. I mean, if the Niners lose, it's going to be because, once again, they come out flat in a game where you're like, well, don't you care? Yeah. I mean, yeah. So another uninspired performance would be why the Niners, and the fact that they're going against a team that's better than them. There's that too. Okay. So why would the Niners? Tell me why the Niners will win this game.
They're a desperate team. But I think another 2 or 3 losses, I think will be mathematically eliminated. They're coming closer to that point where they're just going to be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. Yeah. They're facing. I don't know if they're aware. Or we just talked about the record of Levi's? That's a pretty terrible record. I don't know that you want to post that kind of record for your home stadium. And the NFL, it can be a strange league where, a team like this will come out and beat a better team.
Yeah.
So Kyle has McVay's number, like, for in the head for something.
He does very good against that defense every year.
And for some reason, Brunskill sucks versus everyone else, but versus Aaron Donald,
he's very good.
Yeah,
very good. It's true, and he's done that multiple times. I got more stuff. So the Rams are an excellent team, but they're reeling a little bit. They just lost to the Titans, who were very good. But the Titans showed that the interior of the Rams' offensive line, kind of like the Niners, is not that good. And if you can get pressure up the middle, Stafford is not that laterally quick. I mean, he's not even as quick as Carson Wentz. You can kind of get him to sort of move into some sacks from Nick Bosa or Samson Ebukam. So if Eric Armstead can sort of do the things, what's the guy's name in Simmons? If he can do what he did, then the Niners have a chance. And then also, this injury to Robert Woods is a big deal.
Yeah.
Obviously, the number one guy in this offense is Cooper Kupp. But it's hard to focus on him when Woods is on the field, too, because he's really freaking good. Now Woods is out. And Odell Beckham's here, but is he going to just do everything Robert Woods did in 1 week? Does he even know the offense? If not, if the Niners can shut down Kupp, well, now you've got it down to Tyler Higbee and Van Jefferson and whatever Odell Beckham Jr. can do, and Darrell Henderson Jr. I mean, that's not the Rams. That's not the same Rams. And, Jimmy Ward has done very well against Cooper Kupp in the past. I think it's a great time to face the Rams. And then there's the other thing, the emotional aspect of it, that this is the Niners Super Bowl and this is not the Rams Super Bowl.
Right. The 49ers' weakness defensively is the run. The Rams aren't a great running team. Now they made Arizona Cardinals look like a great running team. However,
that is true. If James Conner can do that, then Darrell Henderson can too. It's true.
Yeah.
But I got another thing. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back to the emotional aspect, because we both said the Niners aren't even showing up right now. So why would they show up to this one? Well, they did just get him. I mean, that one against the Cardinals was embarrassing. It was so embarrassing that both Jerry Rice and Steve Young came out and really called out the leadership on the team. It's like, there's high-paid players in this team. There's good players in this team, but there are no dogs on this team. There's no one sort of grabbing this team by the throat and saying, "Here, we're gonna win." And John Lynch just called out Fred Warner. I mean, all the good players are kind of getting trashed by the Hall of Fame people associated with the Niners. If the Niners have any pride at all, they'll show up to this game. If they have any freaking pride at all, they will actually put forth a good effort, from the coaches with their game plan to the players with their effort. And I'm thinking this is a team that was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. They may not be going anywhere this year, but they might be able to get up for one more game and show us who they used to be. I think they might be able to do it one more time, and that's why they win. If they can kind of make this their Super Bowl. Everyone's writing us off. Steve Young's writing us off. Jerry Rice is writing us off. Let's show everyone what we're really about. That's how the Niners win this game. Let's pick a win. No, hold on. Let's answer a couple questions first, and then we're going to get to some stuff. The team is not playing to win because they're not happy with the coaching staff. They have potential.
I don't know. It's possible. I mean, some of the stuff that's been coming to light, I mean, with criticizing some of their players, I don't know that that's the best way to go around coaching your guys, coming out. And I know some of it's from Lynch, but I don't know if it's that they're not happy with the coaching staff. It's possible. But I know defensively, by all accounts, the players love D'Amico Ryan.
Yeah. Hey, Grant, can you start a movement that gets into Jed's ear that would make he would make a lot more money if Trey started? Let's use what Jed cares about. That's a good point. Well, they're already slashing ticket prices now. If they lose this game at home, they may have to start Trey Lance as a business decision to keep people in the stands.
York did show. I mean, not Jed, but John York. John did show up yesterday, or
say, hey, we're not charging service fees for the tickets because of your 3-5 record.
Yeah, and believe me, I think they are aware of the business aspect of Trey Lance, and it'll get to a point, I believe, where the ownership will, if Kyle doesn't, the ownership will tell him.
Yeah.
Play.
The team is not playing to win because they're not happy with the coaching staff. Sorry, we got that already. Got you twice, though. My friends think I'm crazy, but I really think we lose this by 21 points. Doesn't make me happy to say that. If we win, I hope Ian will be back. It's possible the Niners will. I mean, they laid down last week. I just think that there's too many good players on this team to do it again. You just laid down harder than you've ever laid down before. There's got to be some pride in this locker room. There has to be some pride. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm tripping.
Is Ward is playing tonight?
What?
Ward is playing tonight? Jimmy Ward?
Good point. He's questionable. But, they didn't, make a corresponding move. If it's not him, Tavon Wilson, I think he's playing tonight. I don't always agree, but you're incredible at what you do, bro. Here's to you. Thank you so much, Glass City. Cheers. That is very nice of you. I really appreciate it. And we don't always have to agree.
Was that $50?
That was $50. That was 50, not 50 cents. $50.
Wow.
Thank you. That was I appreciate it.
Ooh.
I do. Let's leave that up for a while. I'm going to come back to it and just let it linger on the screen. So if this is the Niners Super Bowl, are they up by 10 during the fourth and somehow? What's killed me about this is Niner fans, man. Niner fans are so cynical, and Kyle Shanahan did this to him. Well, Jed York did this to him. God, what an enlightened, cynical fan base. I love this. It's fantastic. Hold on. Let me go put that other one back on the screen. Oh, yeah. Glass City. Yeah. All right. Let's say what a win would mean for the 49ers moving forward and what a loss would mean for the 49ers. Starting with a win.
I think the 49ers, if they want to mathematically stay in playoff contention, that a win would help to do that, to get them on the right track towards that. Keep that loss at home, that Levi's loss record.
But Jacksonville's coming up next. That's a winnable game. Yeah. Minnesota looks pretty beatable. Seattle was very beatable.
I think also, while McVay has had better teams, Kyle Shanahan has a better record, and if he can beat McVay, if he can beat McVay, even though right now it's clear McVay has a better team, that's going to say something. It's going to say something.
And Kyle's done that before,
right? Like I'm your daddy.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. John McVay might be your grandfather, but I'm your father.
I like that. So yeah, all of a sudden, again, Niner fans, I don't even think they want to emotionally prepare for this because it hurts too much every time they get their hopes up and they lose. And they're probably going to lose. But if they win this game, the season is right. If they're back on, they're back in it. No question about it. They just won one of the more difficult games remaining on their schedule, and they are right back in the thick of things. Still on the outside looking in, but they're right back in it.
Yeah, and just like I said, if they can keep that up, and if Kyle can have something on McVay, I mean, it's going to it might mean he's in McVay's head, or he might be now. I mean, and they do have another game against the Rams too, so they could be like, okay, well, even though the Rams are a good team, we're going to play them again, and you know what, we're going to beat them again, and that's another win. Like, so, if they can win tonight, it's definitely a better win, I think, than if you flipped it and hey, they're going to beat the Cardinals and lose to the Rams. It's definitely better to beat the Rams and lose to Cardinals.
This might be the most difficult game remaining on the Niners schedule. I mean, this one or the Titans game. These two, I would have to say. And then maybe the second Rams game if they're not resting starters or anything like that. If they win this game, all of a sudden you look at the Niners like, okay. So you messed around the first half of the season, but you have a really triumphant win with that you needed to have, and a pretty easy second half of the schedule. See what you got. Maybe you can peak at the right time. I think this would be a huge freaking win. Now let's talk about what they lose if they lose.
If they lose, well,
if they lose, first of all, will Trey Lance start next week?
No.
Against Jacksonville? No.
I personally don't think he will start until they're mathematically.
Okay.
I don't agree with it, but that's what I think.
Does someone get fired after the game if they lose this one? What is the fallout? The season they pack it in, right? There's no more. No more competing. They could lose to Jacksonville the next week.
Point where they would probably start, like the players would start to maybe pack it in. I don't think Kyle would. I think Kyle would still trot out Jimmy Garoppolo, and try to until they mathematically are eliminated. It definitely, this could be the knockout blow.
Right. Because to me, this is like not a very tight-knit team. This is a team that was kind of full of a bunch of vets on one-year deals, and they were in it if they were good. But as soon as things went bad, I think everyone's kind of like, well, I'm probably not going to be here next year, so I can't exactly, maybe I should make some business decisions at this point. I'm not pointing fingers at players making business decisions, but this is just what happens to teams that are bad and old and filled with guys on one-year deals. This is what always happens, because it's human nature.
Yeah. I mean, I think also if they win, I think it probably means that they probably get some play from some players that you don't expect it. I mean, I think have they said that Moore is going to start at right tackle?
No.
If he does, I'm excited to see that, and if he really can be a right tackle.
Yeah.
Can he be an upgrade?
What's your probability we hear put Trey in before going into the half? I don't know, man. I feel like the Niner fans on YouTube are a lot more bold than the Niner fans in Levi's, man. Like they were literally cheering when the Niners scored that touchdown in the fourth quarter to cut it at 17 last week. Like, come on. That really happened. They were down 24 to the Cardinals, and they scored a touchdown, and people were like, yeah! Like, come on, guys.
Jimmy hasn't played terrible the last weeks either, so I think for Trey to go in, he's going to have it, a couple picks and look really bad. But it's possible. But the last couple weeks, he's played well enough. I mean, I don't turn the ball over. And
hey, man, a lot of people are really enthusiastic about Mac Jones right now, right? The Niners have Mac Jones on their team. His name is Jimmy Garoppolo. They're the same quarterback. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. They're the same quarterback. Same quarterback. Well, Mac Jones is more decisive and he sees the field better. Yeah, well, Mac Jones doesn't have Kyle Shanahan second guessing him after every throw. How would Mac Jones look on the Niners right now with Kyle Shanahan? Jimmy looked really good in New England too. I'm just saying they're the same quarterback. Yeah, Mac is cheaper and 7 years younger, but like if Mac Jones is playing great, then Jimmy's playing great. And I think they're both super average, so I don't know.
George, Debo, I hang on to the ball.
True. All right. Pick a freaking winner. Who's going to win this game and why?
I think the Rams. I think they're better. Kyle has that streak against them, which is why I think tonight it's going to end.
Right.
I just they're better. And I think the Niners losing last week to the Cardinals, they really a team that we've seen. You talked about it yesterday. The Cardinals team that really is not that good, especially without Kyler Murray. The 49ers haven't shown the ability to stop the run all year. And the Rams just are coming off a bad loss themselves. So I think they're going to be eager to show themselves. And, Odell Beckham just got there. I know they lost Robert Woods, but I think you're going to see something from Odell Beckham and Von Miller tonight.
Yeah. Good pick. I'm picking the 49ers to win this game. I think it may sound bizarre, but I think they actually have a better chance than people realize. I think losing Robert Woods is a big blow to the Rams, and the Niners actually do have athletes that can match up with Cooper Kupp, particularly Jimmy Ward, if Jimmy Ward plays, and I think he will. So I think the Niners defense actually can compete in this game, unlike last game. And really, I think a big reason the Niners didn't show up against the Cardinals was they had the wrong game plan. They had the wrong mindset. Like, they didn't respect the Cardinals at all. They knew the Cardinals were going to stop, do that front to stop the run, and the Niners were like, all right, well, we'll just totally abandon our identity and beat Colt McCoy another way because they suck and they're not going to score. But that's not what happened. In this game, they're not going to have such an arrogant game plan. It's going to be like, okay, well, we didn't run last week and we got killed for it. Everyone's saying we have no identity. Well, we do have a better running back than the Rams. So why don't we get back to that? And if we're going to go down and, if the season's going to go down in flames, at least we'll go down with our best foot forward. So I think this is going to be one of those big games for Elijah Mitchell, big game for Deebo Samuel, big game for Kittle. I mean, the guys who really who need to step up, I think will. And I think the Niners will regain their identity and they'll have the right game plan with a lot of runs and play action. And they'll put their best foot forward. And I mean, I don't think they're going to blow out the Rams, but I think they'll actually compete and win.
You got a score?
No.
Will Ross Dwelly do anything tonight?
Yeah, it's going to be that kind of day. Kyle's just pushing all the right buttons. He gets the ball to Dwelly, to Ayuk.
Dwelly's going to have a catch?
I think so. They've been setting him up all season for this moment. They really have. No, but the emotional aspect, like if the Niners have any pride, they'll show up for this game. They have a lot of good players. Steve Young just said they look like they don't care. Jerry Rice said they look like they don't care. If they care at all, they'll show it. They've won their last 4 against the Rams. They have some type of a mental edge over this team. They won't just lay down. I understand underestimating Colt McCoy and the Cardinals. It's unacceptable, but it's understandable. Guys, if you can't get up for this game, then I have no respect for this team. And really, you need to blow it all up because this is an easy game to get up for. Not an easy game to win, but an easy game to get up for, right? Right?
But Monday night, you're
not eliminated.
Division rival,
So last week we'll give you a pass, although it never, ever, 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 ever should happen. We're gonna let that go. And if you win this game, as we said, the season looks good. Like you can almost be like, well, actually, I think they're gonna make the playoffs if they win this game. You can almost say that. They look like a team that's probably gonna pull it off. If they lose this game, it looks like a team that not only will miss the playoffs, but needs to blow the whole freaking thing up. Because they quit before week 9. They quit at 500 essentially. Like, what happened to this team? So yeah, they need. Yeah, and I'm gonna win.
If it really is a situation where Kyle isn't playing, he wants to play Trey Lance, and he's not playing him because the team believes in Jimmy Garoppolo. If they lose tonight, if I was a coach, I'd be like, listen, guys, you tell me you believe in Jimmy Garoppolo, and that's who you're not winning. So I'm going to start the guy that I want to play.
Thank you. Right.
So because it's doing nothing for me trotting out Jimmy. If you're saying, oh, we need Jimmy out there, well then screw it. I'll just play.
Don't freaking wait until you're mathematically eliminated. What good does that do? How about 3-6 is bad enough? Maybe Trey Lance can go on a run. Maybe you can turn things around with some positive energy and some fresh start. Really, why would you wait? Why would you wait? So that's the thing. I made the executive decision not to go to Jacksonville. I've been going to most of the road games, and it's really far and it's tiring. And he's going to start that game, Trey Lance, and I'm going to miss it. And it's too late. I can't even get the credential anymore. But I was like, I don't want to go to Jacksonville. I just don't want to go to Jacksonville. You know, it's not an issue of funds or anything like that. It's just, anyway, I felt like it was I felt like I made a Kyle Shanahan decision there, like something you instantly regret.
It's Jacksonville.
It's Jacksonville, man. I don't know. Nothing against Jacksonville. It's just, I just said, I don't know. All right, anyway, so I'm picking the Niners. I think the whole world called them out. Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, Trent Williams, Jimmy Garoppolo, George Kittle. Do you guys have any pride? If you do, we'd like to see it in this game. I have a bonus topic that we didn't plan for. George Kittle. I want to talk about George Kittle. Tell me if you've seen the same thing.
GK.
GK had a really good game receiving against the Colts. He did fumble once, but he was back to producing. He looks different this year. His legs look way skinnier. I noticed this in camp. I still see it now. If I had to guess, I'd say he weighs 230 pounds. To me, he's way lighter than he was before he signed that contract. And I don't know what it is. You know, he's had calf injuries. He's had injuries where he broke his a foot. I think he's like, you know, my injuries are non-contact injuries, and they come from maybe having too much force on my joints. And it looks like he's gotten a little smaller. And while that's not going to hurt him as a receiver, could even help him, I don't think he's the blocker he used to be. That's all I wanted to say.
It's a good theory. I have to roll the tape back and take a look at it. But
in 2019, he had highlight blocks every game. Blocks where he would move people 10 yards. It's like, oh, who the hell is this freaking guy at 250 blocking like he's Rob Gronkowski? He doesn't have highlight blocks anymore. He would have blocks every week where he'd have like put Budda Baker on his back, or not anymore. I mean, he's not a bad blocker. He's a good blocker, but he used to be the best blocker in the league at his position. And now he's more of a receiver.
I mean, it makes sense. And I mean, and that's where the money is. If you're looking to get a second contract, and you're going to get it with having a bunch of yards and touchdowns, you're not going to get it with, oh, look at this.
True. But the irony here, or why it sucks for the Niners, is that as good as he is as a receiver, his biggest asset, he was most valuable to the offense because of his blocking. It's run first team. And he's better at blocking than receiving, as good as he is at receiving, because he saw a fumble.
Yeah, I guess it would depend on, for me, like it would depend how much of the blocking aspect would he have really lost. Because if he lost like, I don't know, 10% of his blocking ability or 15% of his blocking ability, but all of a sudden he's a red zone target and can.
But that's not what happened.
Well,
that's not what happened.
The second half of the season, I was stunned when he caught a touchdown pass this past.
Me too. Stunned.
And
Anyway,
it was the way he caught it. It wasn't like he was wide open.
No, you don't see that very often from him.
Right.
Nope.
So like, and it's the stuff that like you've been crying for. Like, Kyle, just get him the ball in end zone. He's your best player. Just get it up to him. Like, and you're looking at like, now it looks like the Niners have some guys that could, like, Ayuk went. I know he fumbled it after, but
Ayuk does that. He can do that. He can make contested catches for sure.
Yeah.
That's their contested catch guy. So everyone watching at home, you don't have to agree with me, but watch. When you watch George Kittle, watch his legs. Do they look the same? Watch his blocking. Is as good as it used to be. And you tell me what you see. Something I've been watching. All right, we'll answer some questions. Now that we're finally on the verge of moving on to Lance, Niners will, of course, win tonight and prolong wildcard purgatory. 2021 vibes.
Probably.
That's what I'm saying. I'm picking the Niners to win this game. Let's all volunteer and build a new stadium in SF. Yeah.
No, I'm not telling you.
Got that. Just renovate Kezar. That'd be cool.
Grant might better chip in with that $50.
Yeah, that's right. Glass City had us on that one. I think John York had a conversation and inspired Kyle. Just look at the fallout. We're going to see Lance tonight also. The Yorks are watching you. Interesting. I don't know what happened, but it does seem very like there was some message that was sent. I don't know what it was, but there was a clear message that was sent. I guess we'll find out tonight, right?
Yes.
Possible. Yeah. If Kyle plays Trey like he did versus Arizona, rather he sit. Yeah, that was a really
Where was Jed when John was on the field? Was like Jed in the corner, like playing with his fire truck? Like I don't know.
I wasn't good that day. I don't know. Oh, okay. Well, I'll take over the team again when you say I can. Jonathan says, want to give a shout out to Mike Shanahan. When we stick to the run game, it's Mike stepping in to save his son's job. Thanks for 2019, Mike. Huh. Possible. Hey, Mike, why don't you save it tonight? Come on. We have Jimmy Jesus. Sorry. I think we have the walking to the cross version of Jimmy. Yikes. Yeah, short bus coach. Kyle's face says we are heading. Niners shows are still good. Stay up. Thank you, man. I'm trying to get the Niners. I'm trying to like shame the Niners into showing up for this game. I don't know why. I don't even care.
Yeah, I think
probably controlling me.
I think you probably got it when the Niners started losing. I think you got excited because I think you root for chaos. And then
it was like, I'm right. But now I was like, well, you don't need to like just end the season on November.
Now they're losing a little bit too much. You're like, whoa.
Like, hey, we still got December and January and February. Those are tough months. And with no first round pick. So can we like keep the season going a little bit? I'm just saying. Either that or Trey Lance, one or the other.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that was a terrific pregame show. I don't think you guys expected me to pick the Niners. Haven't picked them in a while. It was fun. I'm looking forward to being wrong as usual. Coach, good show.
Yeah.
Enjoy the show tonight, guys. Maybe I'll see some of you guys there.
Peyton and Eli will be broadcasting. I'm excited for that.
Man, let's get to see them. Can't wait to hear what they say about Kyle Shanahan. Good times. Kyle's 1-4 in prime time. Good times. Uh-oh.
Maybe you shouldn't go. You should just watch at home.
Yeah. No. I'm going. And I'm going to be on the field after the game, too, when I do what I got to do. Don't worry. Oh, I will. That's Daddy. Okay, Daddy. Only for you, Daddy. Sorry. He didn't even pay. All right, guys. I'll see you later at the stadium.